2021, which is the 29th day of Sha'an 1442 after Hijrah and the first day to look for the new moon. A statement signed by the Chairman, Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Sultanate Council, Sokoto, Professor Sambo Wale Junaidu, said the sighting should be reported to the nearest district or village head or through the following numbers for onward communication to the Sultan: 0803-715-7100, 070-674-16900, 0806-630-3077, 0803-614-9757, 0803-596-5322, and 0803-594-5903. President Muhammadu Buhari last night strongly condemned the attacks on the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and member of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, and directed security agencies to fish out the perpetrators. Few days after the presidential directive, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, visited Anambra State and held talks with Governor Willie Obiano. Ndem Carlo reports.
The visit was to reassure the people of the state that security agencies in the country are battle ready for all criminal elements and activities in and around the state, as there is no hiding place for them.
I would like to warn very sternly every criminal that is hibernating within the space of Anambra and of course the larger Nigeria to find a different space entirely. We will go after them and ensure that our people live in peace and harmony.
Governor Obiano, while receiving the Chief of Defense Staff, noted that the visit was on the directive of President Muhammadu Buhari to tackle security challenges in the state, maintaining that security of lives and property remains his top priority.
I want to tell the Anambra that it is not going to be business as usual for the criminals that are here. We're going to deal with them ruthlessly.
Criminals are therefore advised to change or face the full wrath of the law. From Aguleri, Ndem Carlo, NTA News.
A decentralized policing system in Nigeria has been described as a sure way to confront headlong the current security challenges the country is facing. Governor Boyega Oyetola made the submission at the annual colloquium of the Sultan Machido Institute for Peace, Leadership and Development Studies. Joshua Ogunjule reports.
Governor Boyega Oyetola, who was the guest lecturer for this year's annual colloquium of the Sultan Machido Institute for Peace and Development Studies, x-rayed the country's security challenges and emphasized that the centralized policing system could no longer meet the current realities. While acknowledging the efforts of the federal government through the police at establishing community police, Governor Boyega Oyetola noted that the constitutional provision that assigned the role of Chief Security Officer to the governors will be more appropriate to provide corresponding power and control of the security to the governors to enable them live up to their responsibility effectively.
For proper security of lives and property of our people and the prompt containment of growing challenges, we must inevitably now engage our traditional institutions. Governors particularly cannot afford not to look in the direction of the traditional institutions.
The governor, who described security as the main facilitator of sustainable economic development and good governance, explained that the Southwest Neighborhood Security Network Code, named Amotekun, is out to complement the conventional security agencies to effectively tackle armed banditry, kidnapping, and armed robbery. Joshua Oguchide, NTA News.
Wives of governors have reaffirmed their determination to support advocacy initiatives that will facilitate laws and policies aimed at tackling key social issues such as gender-based violence, as well as health and girl-child education. This is part of the 12 points communique on the one-day summit on emerging trends in the role of the First Lady in national development, organized by the Office of the First Lady of Nigeria in collaboration with Women in National Development WAND. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports.
The summit of the spouses of the governors on the theme, Emerging Trends in the Role of the First Lady in National Development, was specifically designed to, among others, identify the challenges in the course of discharging their duties as wives of the governors, of impacting the lives of women, children, and other vulnerable groups with optimism of surmounting them for a better future of Nigerians, especially at the grassroots. As part of the 12-point communique released at the end of the summit, the governor's wives acknowledged the tremendous contribution of the First Lady Aisha Muhammadu Buhari and assured her of their support towards uplifting the lives of the Nigerian women and children.
At all strata, our women are so capable, they must be given a stronger voice, and us First Ladies must begin to do not just the work of looking after women empowerment, women advancement in every other areas apart from politics. We must also begin to look at the political space and begin to encourage and strengthen our women, pick them, choose them, push them out, support them, get our husbands to support women, and let's join the men to bring about the change we need in our country.
So we must at all times try to accelerate the course of womanhood and accelerate our own bonds that will make us stronger.
The last 6 years we've been together or more with some of you has been a very cordial relationship, very mutual one of give and take, of mutual respect, of what can I do for you and what can you do for me, and we come together and we do it not for ourselves but for the sake of humanity.
The role of a presidential and party booster relies heavily on the First Lady's success as a campaigner. Also, in order for the First Lady to be a social advocate, she must first be a recognizable public figure. While it is undeniable that First Ladies hold influence over their husbands, modern First Ladies are also expected to be involved in politics to one degree or another.
Participants reaffirmed their commitment to continue to be reliable means of grassroots mobilization, as well as to strengthen advocacy towards transforming the lives of women and children in the country. From the State House, Aliyu Kabir, NTA News.
Principals and vice principals of schools have been advised to imbibe good leadership qualities and shun cultism, examination malpractice, and siphoning of school funds. The Permanent Secretary, Post Primary School Management Board, PPSMB, Favor Ugwai, was speaking at a training organized for its staff and teachers across the state. Chika Ugu has the report.
This well-equipped computer hub, commissioned by the state government at the PPSMB with ongoing training of its staff, is part of ways to improve the standard of education in secondary schools.
My motivation came as a result of my one-year training in National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. When I came back, I felt I needed to give back what I've received by bringing this kind of hub into the headquarters with the approval of the governor to train our workers so that they can go to schools and train other teachers.
Digitalization is the greatest thing you can do to any institution or organization. And when you give your staff this kind of capacity building, it will help them.
The board also embarked on training of principals and vice principals of various schools in the state. The port of call was Nsukka local government area, where a renowned resource person from the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, JOS, took time to educate participants on the rudiments of strategic leadership and how to manage human and material resources. Participants expressed gratitude to the board and state government for the knowledge impacted on them.
It has smoothened most of the rough edges I have as head of a school.
It has given us what it takes to be a leader. It will take this education sector to a higher level in Enugu State.
The training is for 6 educational zones in the state. In Enugu, Chika Ubu, NTA News.
The University of Nigeria and Nsukka, Enugu State recently made a breakthrough in electricity generation through their refuse-derived fuel-powered 100 kVA generating plant. This innovation was announced by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Charles Igwe. Correspondent reports.
Over the years, electricity generation has been one of the most difficult problems facing the Nigerian economy, especially given its peculiar trade and business nature. It is for that reason that efforts for alternative power sources have topped all measures by both the public and private sector, who are in dire need of electricity solutions to suit the needs of the people. But the recent cheering news from the University of Nigeria and Nsukka seem to have become the long-awaited light at the end of the tunnel. The Vice-Chancellor informed the Minister of Science and Technology, who was on a working visit to the university, that the innovation was a result of a 7-year intensive research aimed at solving the overwhelming power challenges of the university.
2 years ago, we started with 100 kVA, and today we are showing the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology the 500 kVA waste to wealth electricity generating set that we developed. Everything from the scratch to the final was developed here at the University of Nigeria.
According to him, the 15-man research team led by Professor Emenike Ejiogu, while demonstrating the efficacy of the innovation, stated that the 5 major materials used were charcoal, solid wood, locally generated waste, rice dust, coal, and sawdust. The minister, who also inspected the electricity plant, announced that the federal government is to implement a 5-year national waste to wealth project using appropriate technologies to improve the living standard of the people.
I urge other Nigerian universities to pay more attention to research and innovation. This is one way that Nigerian universities can, in the future, be ranked amongst the best in the world.
The Waste to Wealth program, he said, will help reduce joblessness, create clean cities, and be incorporated into the school curriculum for the young Nigerians to emulate. Scientists from research institutes and other universities accompanied the minister during the visit. In Enugu.
And that report forms our background for discussion today. And with me in the studio to speak more on this is Professor Emenike Chinedozie Ejiogu, a principal investigator, Laboratory of Industrial Electronics, Power Devices, and New Energy System, UNN. It's good to have you join us, Prof.
Thank you.
All right. How would you describe the efforts of Nigeria, to tackle the electricity needs of the country so far?
I believe Nigeria as a country have been doing their best, but the result shows that our best has not been good enough. So I think we need to do more, and in doing more, we need to rely more on domesticating some of these efforts instead of depending on importation.
All right. What did you do so differently to achieve this new innovation?
What we have done is look at the energy mix. Any country, any typical country will have what we call energy mix. In other words, you have various sources of energy. It could be hydro, from gas, from solar and all that, wind inclusive. And we looked at where Nigeria could have what we call comparative advantage. In other words, the kind of technology that we will not depend so much on importation, that we can domesticate. And we look at that whole range, and we found out that the gasification technology is one of those enabling technologies that will allow Nigeria take full control of its energy development. They can, because the gasification technology is one that you can use to take very cheap energy sources and turn them into very useful energy materials. Example of it, of course, that you can use solid waste from the cities. And in that case, you have a situation whereby you can kill two birds with one stone, even three. In the case that you're going to clean up the cities, you're going to give people jobs, and you're going to generate electricity. The innovation there, of course, gasification technology is not new in the world. However, if we enter into the technicalities, the innovation that we made there includes such that it's patentable worldwide. We have what we call a double chamber thermochemical gasification system, whereby the gas that is generated is more than the usual system that you have, the usual gasifier that you have. So in terms of, at the worldwide standard, yes, we have some innovation we have. In the case of applying it in Nigeria, I believe this is the first of its kind, and it's going to free us up. We can use several energy sources at the same time, including agro waste, like in places where you have rice milling and all that, sawdust from the wood industry, and of course the cities. And then we can also modify the same technology to handle coal in a very clean manner. So these are the areas we looked at and said, okay.
How long did you work on this project?
Well, consistently at the University of Nigeria, we've worked on it for close to 7 years now. However, the research work started when I was in Japan, when I was doing after my PhD work, and I started as a researcher there. I was always looking at Nigeria, what we could bring home after all this long stay in the diaspora.
Okay. So now with this new innovation, what's the hope of Nigeria in terms of electricity generation?
Well, as I said, this technology is what that can give us another form of the energy mix. It's an alternative form of energy mix, and it's a technology that can be deployed at source. What I mean by at source is there is this concept of, in energy matters, we call it distributed generation. What it means is that you generate at where you want to use the energy. I'll give an example. For example, if all the 774 local government areas should get 10 kilowatts of power from this technology, you can see that within a very short period of time, you can inject 7,740 megawatts of power into the Nigerian energy sector. So that gives you an idea of what can be done with this technology. Okay,
but does it mean that it cannot work outside the university premises? Can you extend it to other areas?
Of course, just as I've said now, university is just a stepping stone. We are doing a pilot case whereby we want to power the university with about 3 megawatt power using this technology. And then it's a step to, applying it elsewhere. As they say, charity begins at home. So we are starting at home.
You're right. So what was the most challenging moment for you and your team in the course of, producing this new innovation?
Yes, you might have ideas, but how to implement those ideas is a problem. In the case of the Nigerian environment, the most challenging aspect of the work we've done over these years is the fabrication equipment. Because we are dealing with metals here, stainless steel, these are hard metals, and you need to bend them, you need to cut them, you need to weld them and such like that. So the most challenging aspect of the work has not been the idea, but rather the tools, fabrication equipment that you need in order to, put to friction the idea that we, have.
And now that we're here, what do we do? How do we sustain this innovation?
Well, basically, we are looking at, the public's, the government coming in at this point. I've just mentioned one challenge we have. We need a full-scale fabrication workshop. There's no doubt about that if we need to produce in the commercial scale. And of course, the private sector as well can come in here.
Okay. I want to thank you so much for your time on Panorama today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, I will be speaking with Professor Emenike Ejiogu. He's a principal investigator, laboratory and industrial electronics, power devices, and new energy system at the UNN. We'll take a breather here. Panorama continues in a moment. Stay with us.
We need to reach out to the people. We should convince them. We should use the systems that we have used before in getting our people vaccinated over the years.
Please, this is good for you and good for others and good for the health of all Nigerians.
I want to reassure our people that as your governor, I will not subscribe to anything that will harm you nor affect your well-being.
We just help other states, including our states, to demonstrate capacity to rise to the occasion in our collective effort to wage the deserved war against COVID-19.
From all indications, quality, safety, efficacy, the benefits outweigh the side effects. So, from all indications, it's generally safe.
I have to congratulate Mr. President and particularly the PTF headed by the Secretary of Government.